Today I am joined with Alvarine Coulton, who is actually a twice award winner at the National Landlord Investment Show Awards. So welcome today, Alvarine. Thank you so much for making the effort to come in and have a chat.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So Alvarine actually has won 2 awards at the LIS Awards, and I think the first one it was in 2022, and then also 2025 last year, and was actually Landlord of the Year. So lots to talk about today, and obviously we're doing this obviously for women in property, but also to really celebrate International Women's Day. So Alvarine, a few little questions for you today.
Go ahead.
So what I'd like to know first of all is, what was your first move in property and what inspired it?
Okay, I started my property journey back in 2012. I bought my first property in Manchester. So that's 13 years ago. Wow, long time. Time ticks. So the reason why I went up to Manchester area is because it's affordable and it gave me a better return. And the first property I bought was a student accommodation. And funny enough, my sister was actually in Manchester studying at Manchester University, so I actually rented out one of the rooms to her.
Smart.
And what actually got me into the property market was watching my grandparents. They actually came over from Jamaica to the UK, and to make ends meet, they used to rent out rooms in their house, and I lived with them. I watched what they were doing, and it's got me wanting to be in the property market and do exactly what they were doing. And funny enough, still to this day, my granddad is 94 years old and he still advises me, and he sometimes still comes to some of my meetings with me.
Amazing.
Yeah, so they are great role models, and they got me interested in wanting to be a landlord and invest in properties.
That's lovely, and do you know what, I can relate to that, because there's a lot of when people do come over to the country, I certainly remember it, with the Irish community as well. Like, often people would come over for work, or nurses, and they'd end up all living together, or
exactly.
go into a family that had a house and they'd rent a room.
That's true. That's exactly what took place.
Yeah. It's all different now, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But lovely to know that actually was the inspiration behind it.
Definitely.
And wow, and your granddad's 94 and still very much
he's always on top of me. He's always like, oh, he really is always on top of me.
That's good. Listen, that generation's no nonsense, and that's what we need.
Yeah.
So that's really inspiring. So, I mean, did you face any sort of barriers starting out? What did you find?
Definitely. Well, because I live in London, and at the time I was working in London, and I was trying to manage my portfolio myself, which is based in Manchester. So I actually struggled with letting go, handing over my portfolio to a managing agent, especially seeing that I'm a bit of a control freak. And it's kind of like having that trust, that to build that foundation, that strong foundation relationship between property manager and landlord. I actually struggled with, because they are actually representing me as the landlord. So I actually struggled with that. I found it hard, because I was trying to do so much. I was trying to manage my time, but I was just struggling with that, and having commitments. It just was impossible for me to manage a portfolio which is based in London. I'm based in London, and my portfolio is based in Manchester.
And it's that kind of giving that trust over. And I think like today, it's so important that you've the relationship with that managing agent, and doing the compliance and making sure you're happy and that they are the right fit. Because it is hard. It's hard to let go.
Definitely.
But that was kind of what you faced. So how did you overcome that?
Well, I was actually introduced to a property manager through my financial advisor, and I was getting inundated with phone calls from tenants saying, oh, we're having plumbing issues, oh, we're having this issue, we're having that issue, and I thought, okay. I met this person, and he was kept on saying, oh, let me like take over, let me do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to give you one property. I'll see how you go with that property.
Yeah.
And we end up starting to build a rapport over time, and that's how it worked out. Even though I handed over my portfolio to a property management company, I'm still hands-on, and a landlord still needs to be involved and oversee what's going on, even though it's further afield from where they live.
Great advice. And also building up that trust and rapport
definitely
over a period of time is really important. Obviously, you said I think it's 13 years in your journey now.
Definitely, 13 years.
13 years since we started these shows, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
So,
Wow.
it's a bit mad.
Yeah.
But I've certainly seen changes. So,
yes.
I mean, how has the industry changed? You know, what changes have you seen since you've begun?
Oh, gosh. I find that there's more restrictions. It's really making things more harder for landlords to be on. I think it's a good thing. A lot of landlords I met and talked, they're not happy with the rules and regulations, but I agree with what's taken place right now. I think that you need to be on top of your property, make sure it's in good condition for the tenants. You are liable at the end of the day, and these rules do need to be put in place. And I agree with it. So saying that, I'm actually in the process of handing over my portfolio to a higher standard of management agency, and I am actually going through one by one each of my property, upgrading it and making sure it's up to EPC standards, C and above. So I'm doing that at the moment. And funny enough, like during COVID, it's made me realise that social housing is beneficial to my business, so I'm actually getting involved in that side of the business because it's actually guaranteed rents as well.
A lot of landlords are certainly going and looking at that. I mean, we use that as a model ourselves, as one of our models. We use quite a few as landlords, but it's kind of it's a good, bit more of a hands-off approach. But I think you're right, in terms of, you've probably looked at your portfolio like a lot of landlords have and thought, okay, what needs to be changed and what do I need to update at the moment to make sure you're compliant? And I think you're right. I think the changes, they seem painful, but they're all quite practical. And you're absolutely right. I think the, Renters' Rights Act, what that will do eventually is, the landlords that are out there that are not doing a good job, that will sort that out, and there's plenty of amazing landlords out there. Let's face it, landlords, most of the time we have good relationships with our tenants, and you're providing a good home. And if you're not providing a good home, then you shouldn't be in this game. I totally agree with you. So I think you've sort of explained, the sort of renting on the social housing aspect as well. I kind of did a bit of a panel on Rent for Good, and it's very close to my heart for different reasons. But, it's great to know that you're integrating that into your business model. And then that sort of probably brings me quite nicely onto, what are you most proud of in your journey?
I'm making a lot of connections with local authorities and private housing homes. So that is good for me because I'm actually providing homes to vulnerable people. So I'm actually happy that I'm making those connections and that I can actually do some good. And as well as having the best team I can possibly have behind me that knows exactly where I want to take my business. So I'm pretty happy with that. As well as winning awards. As well as winning awards.
No, that's lovely. You kind of, you're giving something back. And what's quite nice is that you can do that. You can give something back. You can provide a great service, and actually it's still profitable. So there is ways of doing that. So that's amazing. So tell me, why should more women get into property?
From my perspective, seeing that I was working in the corporate world, and you cannot climb up that ladder doing a 9-to-5 job, I found. And this business is male dominated, but also being the corporate world is male dominated, but you actually have more control, and I think more women need to be in this business, and shows that, you know what, we women can do it, and we do it better than men actually at the end of the day. And it's also like, it's a great, you can make a great income.
Yeah.
It's a solid business. You could still raise your family while you're working for yourself, and creating a business to pass on to the next generation.
Yeah.
So I think I think all women should do it. And
it's a great option, and it's great. You know, it's, as you and I know, it's not an easy run, but if you're in it for the long term and you do it properly, and I think what's nice as well, you can do it when you've got children, but also, you know, I think like you play a big part, you know, in sort of being on, you know, hands-on for your grandparents as well, and you can have more time, having more time and more flexibility, whether or not you've got, you know, relatives that you need to be around for, or if you've got kids. So
that is one of the reasons why I did it, because I'm a carer for my grandparents. So I, like, you know, even though I was still working and still trying to manage a portfolio that is all the way in Manchester, I did find it hard to also care for my grandparents, because I was backwards and forwards travelling Manchester, London all the time, and and something had to give, and it actually worked out for me during COVID time, though, like leave the architects that I was working for and just focus non-stop on this business, which I did, and I was able to be around for my family
and
provide for them by building up this business. It's it creates wealth. It creates wealth.
Absolutely, and that's solid advice. You know, so one piece of advice that you would give women starting in property now today.
Don't cut corners on advice. That's one thing I would definitely say. Get professional advice. Like what I did, I went to a financial broker who is still helping me manage my portfolio now. And you need the right people behind you. And and treat your portfolio like your children, nurture it.
That's great advice. And I think as well, you know, the connection and, you know, speaking to other people, because often, you know, being a landlord can be quite isolating. Often you're working alone, so I think it's important that you have that network that you can turn to, and you've got, you know, it's building that team out, isn't it? Building the right team out, the right network, you know, your team of builders, your compliance, and then probably attending events and networking events is really important.
Oh
you know, keeping on top
you
of
need
it all.
it is isolating, because I was actually just saying to you before, like, I have no friends, because my friends are like always like, are you going to come out with us? I was like, no, I'm busy. I can't get out. No, sorry.
You're full time into it. So, no, it's so true. So what is your rise factor? You know, what makes you rise as a woman in property, Alvarine?
I feel like I'm breaking down barriers, because I've said to other women, like, I was on a panel last year, Black Women in Real Estate, and I was saying to them, like, if I can do it, you can do it, sort of thing. So I feel like I'm breaking down the barriers. There's nothing that can hold you back. I know it's a male-dominated field, and a lot of women has come up to me after the panel and says, oh, it was such great advice you give, but I honestly don't feel like I can do it, like, you know. And I'm like, nothing can hold you back, you know, just give it a go, and if you determine, you will do it, you know.
Amazing. Well, I think this has been really insightful, and I think it's going to really inspire a lot of women who are already in property to keep going. I think my key takeaways from this is, you know, be organised, build out your team. You create flexibility. You know, keep on top of everything, even if you are you're working with a management company. It's really important that you're working really well with that management company. Definitely. You know, and keep going, and nothing's impossible. You know, you've proved that. So
thank you.
And I really, you know, it won't be the last. We've got lots of stuff going on this year.
That's good.
And you know, and I'm really pleased to say that Alvarine is actually, an ambassador for the National Landlord Investment Show, and we're really proud to have you
Thank
on
you.
board
I'm
with
proud
us.
to be on board.
That's
Thank
great.
you.
Well, we'll hopefully get out for that drink and that lunch so we can get you out a bit more often.
I need it, especially seeing what I'm going through with builders and all that, but I need it.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Alvarine,
Thank you for
joining
having me.
us.
Thank you.
We will see you soon. Thanks for joining us today, guys.
Bye.